So for our final Flipgrid project, we are going to be exploring Broadside Ballads. As we talked about a little bit in terms of Wordsworth, the ballad was a really, really popular art form, more so in the early 18th century, but definitely still during the Romantic era. This is something that would have been accessible to a lot more people. The woodcuts were a lot easier to make, a lot cheaper to produce, and they were usually just sort of one page, right? A ballad sheet, meaning that it was not too expensive for people to buy. Even if people couldn't buy them, they often would have them at like a coffee shop, and so people could go to coffee shops and read them there, just like we read newspapers at coffee shops. And even if you couldn't read, often people would get together in groups and have these ballads read aloud to them. So they're kind of fun. A lot of them are pretty raunchy. They're kind of fun to poke around in. Like for example, you can see that there's like a whole thing about worms and how worms were really popular in the ballad. Okay, so I am going to do a search. Again, you can sort of, the one downside of this is you definitely have to have sort of a topic that you're interested in. And I feel like I've overused pirates. So I'm going to search under gender. I don't know if they group them by topic. I can't remember, so this might not be a good way to search, but I think it's really interesting to think through gender roles in the Romantic era ballad. So I'm going to search through gender. Okay, I found 4. It's not great. And then the other problem, or the other thing about this, this is you need to make sure that your ballad is from the correct sort of literary period, right? So in order to do that, you go through okay, so there's dates, and there's 2 of them are from 1850 to 1900. So that's not really great. So this is definitely, I've done it. It's a older ballad. This looks really interesting to me, and it's 1745 to 1814. So I'm going to click on the ballad number. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay. So it looks like they put this into an edition in between 1877 and 1844, but it contained ballads from earlier. So this is definitely doable. So we click on the edition, and you look at the first ballad. Okay, one of these days. I'm assuming this is the first ballad. A Beggar's Child's Dream. Although, don't quote me on that. If that is, then one could, sort of look at it in terms of the Romantic era. But this is probably not a great topic that I just searched. Usually these are a lot easier to find. So I'm going to go back to, let's see. Oh, I see. Okay. So 1750 to 18, so there's 3 from 1800 to 1830. Okay, this is making a lot more sense to me. And you can read sort of the ballads. You can read them here. So there's one called Soldier's Farewell on Going to War. And as you can see, and then there was Soldier's Adieu. Sometimes they would publish the 2 ballads on different sides of a page. And so that might be interesting to you. Or that one's the Soldier's Adieu again. And then this one, I'm trying to look for a really raunchy one, because there's definitely, oh, that's also the Soldier's Adieu. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Let's search again, and this time I'm going to search for love. There's going to be a ton of them, right? And so I'm going to look for, oh gosh, let's look for 1800 to 1850. And again, there's a lot of them. So we want to kind of narrow them down. Sailors, soldiers, unrequited love. Ooh, let's find seduction and abandonment. And so this wandering girl, like this would be a really interesting one. The lamenting maid, the wandering girl. These would be really, really interesting if you were interested in gender roles. So anyway, that's a really, it takes a while. It takes a while to work through archives. I'm kind of showing you sort of my process of finding things that I would be interested in looking at. So for homework, I want you to find something in this archive. And as usual, tell us how you found it, and then tell us why you think it might be interesting to the study of the Romantic era.